Now, as Nigeria looks ahead to future elections, the focus must remain on curbing political bigotry and strengthening democratic processes. From voter intimidation to the misuse of security and youth groups during campaigns, these practices undermine free and fair elections and weaken public trust. Institutions such as the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) must be supported to enforce electoral laws, while security agencies remain neutral and professional. Political actors, parties, and supporters also have a responsibility to prioritize issue-based campaigns over violence and division. A credible election is not just about voting day. It is about ensuring peace, transparency, and accountability throughout the process.
Now, for more on this conversation, Honorable Chile Igbagwa will be joining us live on Daybreak. He is the Special Advisor to the ADC National Chairman on Research Policy and Strategy. Thanks for joining us, Honorable Chile Igbagwa.
Thank you very much, Wenga.
Now, just to set the record straight, so much outrage on the attack in Benin a couple of days ago, and some have condemned it as a brazen and reprehensible assault on democracy. But when you look at some of the comments that have also trailed this outrage, the PDP is saying that ADC is linked to cultism. So how do you we need clarity on that? Because while the governor of Pueblo is saying that the importation of thugs as a peace-loving people need to be condemned, the PDP seems to be more specific, saying that ADC is linked to thuggery and cultism. Can you set the record straight, please?
Well, thank you once again. I don't understand from where that kind of accusation will come, because that's blaming the victim. You attack somebody, you shoot at somebody, you break cars, windscreens of cars, you shoot at a very senior citizen's gate, uncountable bullets, and then you turn back and say that is the person who is, promoting.
No, they are saying that there is an internal tension within the ADC.
I do not think so. And I think we should be able to speak for ourselves, not PDP speaking for us. We have not, before the incidents, in Benin, been involved in anything violent. So I don't know where it's coming from. And you recall that the governor of Edo State had already warned that Peter Obi should not come to Benin, and that if he does come, he cannot guarantee his security. And I think he was just fulfilling what the threat that he had given. So I don't see how you attack somebody and then you blame him back, and it's certainly a case of blaming the victim. And I think there is no basis. PDP should come out and explain how they got that information, whether they think at national level, because we have very respected leadership in the ADC, people who are well known in Nigeria and who are well respected for being a people of decorum. So I think it's a very unfair comment on their part, and they may have to come and explain.
Well, a lot is going on across political parties in Nigeria. Usually in the past, we've seen this brigandage spread across all the party. It's not limited to one alone. And also when you think about the fact that most of the politicians move from one party to the other, so it's still the same people. But concerning that attack on the leaders of the ADC in Edo State, I'd like you to share with us the next steps that your party is taking in regard to that. What are you going to do in regard to what has just happened?
Well, that was an attempted, assassination of a prominent citizen of Nigeria. Perhaps not just one, because you had, a group of leaders meeting in that place, and then you were shooting sporadically, and you couldn't know who would be hit in the course. So the PDP, the APC, ADC has taken note of what transpired, and will take appropriate legal action to restore confidence in its leaders. And maybe I should just mention that when you talk about thuggery, area council elections were held in Abuja, and it was an agent of the ADC who was murdered. And then there was no report of an ADC member attacking anybody in the course of the process. So I think that we are on good record to show that we are a party of discipline, people, a party of people with decorum, facing brigandage from the other political parties, especially the ruling APC.
Okay, I'm glad you make reference to those FCT local council elections, because they also generated a lot of conversation around the state of internal democracy within the ADC. For example, there's conversation around the fact that ADC lost AMAC because Dr. Mo, the candidate, did not go through the process of primaries, that he was a consensus candidate, and that those who felt they'd been working for the structures were sidelined, and they felt that Dr. Mo was chosen because Peter Obi raised his hand, if I'm to quote the meeting that has now gone viral on social media. So I want to know, moving forward, what is your plan as the Electoral Act has now been amended and there is no more indirect primaries? What is the intention behind ADC with choosing your presidential candidate? Do you have a robust enough membership base across the country to be able to conduct primary elections, or is it going to be a consensus that will determine who the presidential candidate for the ADC will be?
Well, thank you very much, Vimbai. I think that I should say that somehow by the time the opposition coalition adopted ADC as a political platform, the legacy ADC had already chosen its candidates and submitted their names. So the renewed and reinvigorated ADC had no space, because it was late to even substitute anybody. So, but we understand that at the time those candidates were chosen, the process through which they did it would have been properly taken. And I think Peter Obi was only raising his hand during the campaigns, and that was not the time of choice of candidate. He was just campaigning for him. His name had long been with INEC last year, before we actually had our July NEC meeting at which the new leadership of the ADC was installed. So I don't think that is the issue. We accept that there were some defects in candidate selection because in Nigeria, when you want to select candidates, particularly when you're combining at least two candidates, you must have sensitivity to demographics, you must have sensitivity to ethnicity, and you must have sensitivity to religion. And I think on those three counts, there were flaws. But that was not the main issue that caused ADC to lose the election. The main issue was that when the APC saw that ADC was going to take AMAC, they just used their henchman, the minister of the FCT, Wike, to block voters from moving. And we are aware, and we are still studying it so that we can take appropriate action, if for nothing else to contribute to making the democracy in Nigeria better than where it is. Our members who are, living outside in the suburbs of this city were blocked from coming in to vote. Some of them are artisans, they register to vote in their places of work. But they live on the outskirts because they cannot afford rents in the city.
But do you think
now, when it was time for them to come, they were blocked and they were not allowed to come.
Just for clarity, do you think the road blockade will provide immunity for only the APC supporters?
No, the issue is, we know these things in politics. If they know this is where your strength is, they can usually bring something to make sure that they destroy your strength in that area. Now, if we had a turnout that was better than that, certainly we knew what we were doing, and I can assure you that we knew why they blocked the roads, because they didn't want these artisans to come to town, to their working places and vote for the ADC. As simple as that.
Okay, now following up on this incident that happened in Edo State and this gun attack that has been on the mouths of many, it has been said in one of the reports that there was intention to go to the ECOWAS Court of Human Rights. Is this something that's going to be followed up?
Yeah, I've told you that ADC is taking that matter seriously, and the legal team is considering the options that are available. And before long, I'm sure you'll hear the decision on that.
So a decision hasn't been made on that yet?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Though we've not had, looking at past antecedents, we've not seen much come out of the ECOWAS court, and whether that will be would have a compelling effect within our local polity here. But now, looking at the internal affairs of the ADC, Senator Roland Iwere had come out to complain about how former Governor John Odige had hijacked the party structure in Edo State. And do you think that that will not fuel resentment and acrimony within the rank and file of the party?
Well, you know, internal party squabbles are a normal feature, not just for political parties, but any organization. I'm aware that His Excellency Chibo Yegun is one of the early starters of the project. And for many who may not have thought that the opposition coalition was going to make headway, they took their time to bid when to come in. And they came in later. But I can assure you that Chibo Yegun is a gentleman. Chibo Yegun is not even looking for any position. He has occupied whatever position he needs to occupy. So I do not think he has personal interest in that way. But we know in a few states people are feeling that, you know, those who started the process of the opposition coalition, I wouldn't say lording over them, but they naturally have the leadership because they have the institutional knowledge of where we want to go. Now, Chibo Yegun, for instance, is chairing the ADC Committee on Policy and Manifesto. Very serious committee. And it's on merit. And I believe that as many as come into the ADC, they will find space and they will be treated equally. We're expecting that before long, when we begin to churn out our policies through our manifesto, people will begin to understand where we face and how that this is a party that looks to be different from the other political parties that you have around. And we'll have that in writing online so that people can see. So there should be no fears whatsoever, because in the end, people will discover that they have opportunities just like any other person. I know that in some places, small, just setting up a committee so who we assist in, you know, in registering new members has become an issue. Who registers does not own those who are being registered. But people look at it differently. We don't understand. We're trying to find out why that is actually making an issue. But I believe that in the end, there will be full democracy in the ADC.
All right. Talk to me about what you see ahead of next year's polls, especially given what transpired in the FCT Council elections. And one of the reasons why I'm asking this is that for political parties that are in the opposition, they are used to talking tough, releasing press statements, and making a lot of noise on whether it's on TV, radio, or the newspapers. But when chips come, you know, when push comes to shove, you know, on the ground in terms of the elections, they don't do much defending their vote. So what is ADC going to do about that? Because if the APC, the ruling party, is organizing properly, getting ready for the elections, what are you going to do differently that will make sure that next year's elections are conducted properly and that people's votes actually count?
Thank you very much, Constance. And that takes me back to the question that Vimbai asked, which I didn't answer completely. She did ask about our grassroots presence. And I want to say that we have, 2 weeks ago, we launched our membership registration and revalidation process. This is both online and also manual. And a national committee has been set up. Similarly, state committees have been set up. Local government committees have been set up. And ward committees have been set up across the nation. So the membership registration and revalidation is ongoing. And I believe that by the time we even have our first convention, we would have been a place to, you know, to say how much, how many membership we have. But again, it's just not membership or political parties that vote for the party. We are dealing with the local people, and our message resonates with many of the locals. I believe that as many as are suffering are not coming out because of letters or ABC, ADC, and all that. They know that there is suffering in the land, and there is the fact that the ruling APC has not shown any evidence that they have the capacity to deal with this ugly situation. So we are registering. By the time we tell Nigeria how many people we have as members, they will know that we are ready. Some of the issues are not for the cameras. We have our strategies, which again I will admit that we did not apply them fully in the area council elections. I want to tell Nigerians that the area council election should not be used as basis for measuring the preparedness of the ADC. I had said before that when you take up an organization, you take up both the assets and the liabilities. So when the opposition coalition adopted, ADC as its platform, we took both the assets and liabilities. So whatever was done which was not in a position to be changed, like nominating candidates for elections, including the ADC, the area council elections, we took it as it was, as we met it. And that cannot be the basis of our assessment. We are very, very confident that we will not be a party of noise, will be a party of action, will be a party of results.
Okay, as your special advisor on research, policy and strategy, I have two very specific questions for you. There's been a lot of talk around whether ADC believes in zoning, whether the presidency should go to the north or the south. I'd like for you to shed more light to it. Categorically now, where does ADC's policy stand on whether the presidential candidate for the 2027 election should come from the north or the south? Secondly, do you believe that the ticket should be split to represent the two major faiths of Nigeria? Should it be a Christian Muslim ticket, or is it okay for us to do Christian, Muslim, Muslim? What is ADC's policy stance on these two issues?
Well, I may not speak about the zoning here because I told you the committee is working on that. And the proper principle is that advisors are seen and not heard. So whatever advice or strategy I push to the national chairman of the party should remain with him. When he adopts it, he owns it. It becomes his own. I'm not supposed to say what advice I give to my principal. But constitutionally, we know that.
Yeah, but surely you can analyze.
Yes, I'm analyzing. I'm going on, Vimbai. The constitution provides for that.
All right.
You cannot, constitute a government that does not represent the demographics of the country. And I said before that if we do not take religious considerations, gender sensitivity, local interests, and other considerations, you would have violated the provisions of the Constitution in the first place. And of course, we know that APC, in having a Muslim candidate, had violated that. And we have no intention to do that because we criticized it when it happened. And I can assure you on that part that ADC will not present a Christian ticket or Muslim ticket.
Honorable Chile, we're quite unfortunate. This is a very exciting and insightful conversation, but that's the much we can take. Thank you very much, Honorable Chile. We're the Special Advisor on Research, Policy and Strategy. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak, and that's all we have time for here on Daybreak. I'm Gwenga Ashiru.
And I'm Constance Ikoko. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next.
All right, coming out of Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos, I'm Vimbai Mutiniri Ekweyong. A great show it's been. See you tomorrow.